when you start learning French, we bury our head in vocabulary lists and grammar exercises while sometimes overlooking the more practical, real-life things we need to know about to actually speak French. There are certain aspects of the French language, quirks, if you will, that if you learn them as a beginner, you're going to be ahead of the game. So with that, let me teach you a few French language quirks that, as an English speaker, they actually took me years in some cases to learn. So I'll let you know about my mistakes so you can be ahead of the game from day one. First, if you're new here, I'm Diane. Welcome, bienvenue. I've lived in France since 2012, and here on We in France, we talk about everyday French life and beyond. So with that, let's kick off my list with number 1. I'm going to start with some pronunciation quirks, specifically silent letters. Now, in French, there are a lot of silent letters, so just put that aside because today we're going to focus here on the letter H. So the H, the H en français, it's always silent. So we say haricot, beans, instead of haricot, or hôtel, hôtesse, hôpital, not hôpital. You know, that H is silent. But, and yes, there's always a but to keep things interesting. Thank you, French language. There are actually two types of French H's. We have the H, the H muet, and the H aspiré. And there's a lot to say on those two H's, but to keep it simple for today's video, the only difference really is that the H, the H aspiré, doesn't include making the liaison, the connections between the letters. So it's les al, not les al. Now, on the other hand, the H muet is almost always just like the word is starting with the vowel. So you make that liaison. So you say for the man, you say l'homme, not le homme. Or plural, it's les hommes, not les hommes. And there's no foolproof trick to know if it's muet or aspiré. You just either have to know and you get used to it by hearing it, or you need to look in the dictionary, right? Just when we thought French wasn't hard enough. And continuing with that whole silent letter thing, another good one to know is that the letter C, en français, c'est, it's silent in words like tabac and peur. Tabac being the tobacco shop where you can buy cigarettes, that sort of thing, and peur as in pig or pork meat. And funny story, I admit I got this one wrong for several years, and I'm blaming my French husband Tom for this. With each other, we'd pronounce the C, and he thought I was doing it as a joke. I was just pronouncing the word the way I thought you were supposed to say it. So I'd be saying the pork or the tabac, until one day in front of his family, I mentioned that, you know, something was devant le tabac. And he looked at me like, what the heck are you saying? And I only realized then, literally 3 years into living in France, that you don't pronounce the C at the end of these words. So for the record, repeat after me. It's peur and tabac. Number 2, you don't use apostrophe S to show possession like we would most naturally in English to say Diane's house. In French, it's literally the house of Diane, la maison de Diane, since the apostrophe S does not denote possession in French. Now, apostrophes do exist in French in words like today, aujourd'hui, but they aren't used the same way that we use them in English. So always know in French that sentence structure is the blank of blank, la voiture de Diane, the car of Diane, not Diane's car. All right, number 3. There are two ways to say you, tu and vous. And unlike in English, the French language has the informal and the formal way to say you. So we have tu is informal and vous is formal. And note the u and the ou sounds, they're different. So it's not tu and vu or, you know, tu and vu or whatever. It's tu and vous, okay? So tu is for people you know well in a casual context. So friends, family, anyone who has also told you that you can tutoyer them. And yes, there's an actual verb in French that means use the tu form of you and that it's okay to be informal with each other. So to ask someone that, you would just say, est-ce qu'on peut se tutoyer? Meaning, can we use the tu form with each other? And you also always use tu, the informal, with kids, even if you don't know them. So a 5-year-old that you see on the street, use tu. Now, on the other hand, vous is what you'd use in a professional context when you don't know someone well, when you address an employee at a store, a restaurant, and it's the you form you'd use when you're referring to more than one person. Anyway, there's a lot of nuance to the whole tu versus vous, but those are the basics. And speaking of the basics and learning to understand French and be understood yourself by those around you, which are both very important when you're speaking a foreign language, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Lingoda. Now, they're the #1 trusted online language school, and they have an upcoming Lingota Sprint Challenge, which is an intensive language course where if you attend all of your classes over that 2-month time frame, you're going to get up to 100% cash back. Now, the Lingota Sprint Challenge is exactly what you need to feel confident interacting with the French. So if you kind of been on the fence about leveling up your French, let this be the sign you need to take action. I personally first heard of Lingota back in 2017, and both Tom and I, we've taken classes with them on their easy-to-use online platform. And I love that you can take classes from the comfort of your own home, from your home computer or phone. You can sign up in just a few clicks all around the clock, no matter your time zone, with native speaking teachers and only a small handful of students. The curriculum is interactive, so you're not being taught at, but you're an active participant in class with others. And in addition to French, you can also learn German, Spanish, English, or business English. And their curriculum is going to get you real results no matter your current level. Now, the classes I've taken have focused on French grammar, since I did not study French back in college, since that's a weak spot of mine. But no matter what your focus is, there's a class that's going to get you closer to wherever you want to go. And it's going to be done in a fun, encouraging environment. Now, if you don't have much of a budget for French classes, but you have the motivation and time, the Lingota Sprint Challenge is going to give you, yes, I'm serious, up to 100% cash back when you attend all of your classes. So go for the most rigorous 30 classes a month super sprint, or if that's a little too much, attend 15 classes a month for the regular sprint over that 2-month time frame and get 50% cash back. Also, be sure to read through the terms and conditions before signing up so you understand everything. So with that, are you ready to commit and transform your language skills in just 2 months? If so, sign up below with my link and be sure to use the voucher code DIANE03, that's DIANE03, that will give you $25 off that deposit. All right, now back to the video. All right, number 4, the use of the word Shay. Now in French, if you want to say you're going to someone's house, you would put a Shay, C-H-E-Z, before the name, Shay. So if you're coming over to my house, you could say, I'm going to Diane's this afternoon. Je vais chez Diane cet après-midi. Technically, you could say, I'm going to Diane's house, the house of Diane. Je vais à la maison de Diane cet après-midi. But there's no need to do that. It would be a little weird because that's what the word chez is for. Works perfectly. Now in English, there's no one word equivalent for that works in the same way, but it just means you're going to someone's house or residence, that sort of thing. Now, chez also works when you say you're going to the dentist or the salon, such as je vais chez le dentiste or chez le coiffeur. It doesn't literally mean the dentist's private home. It means you're going to their office for an appointment. Presumably, if you knew your dentist on a first name basis, you'd say, I'm just going to that person's house. You'd know their first name, and that's how you would refer to him or her. But just note that chez, it works for when you're going to see a professional, like in their office, like I just said, the dentist, the hairstylist, a florist, a lawyer, a plumber, but not for the place. So you can say je vais chez le docteur, but not je vais chez l'hôpital. You don't say I'm going to the hospital's house. You would just say je vais à l'hôpital in that case. And just a note on pronunciation, in chez, the CH is pronounced like the English SH sound, such as shower, or in the first name Sharon, not the CH like chair. And also the EZ, the N, the E, it's pronounced like an accent aigu in French, E. So don't say chaise and pronounce the Z like it's a EZ, ez at the end or anything like that. It's just Shay. All right, number 5, when you say English words in French, it's important to say them with the French accent to be understood. So what words am I talking about? Words like hamburger, hamburger, brownie, brownie, Snickers, sneakers. The city of Detroit, Miami, Hollywood, it's Détroit, Miami, and Hollywood. The holiday Halloween, Halloween. Remember that silent H we talked about. And if you go to the bakery and you say, bonjour, je prends un brownie, you're going to be asked to repeat yourself because in French, it's not brownie, it's brownie. Or if you go to a restaurant and you're like, yes, je prends le hamburger, they probably won't understand. You're going to have to say hamburger. Or in the case of going to Miami, you wouldn't say, I went to Miami, je suis allé à Miami. It wouldn't necessarily be understood. Maybe, but you need to say Miami. And I made an entire video about how you pronounce words in English when you're speaking French and vice versa that you might find interesting. So I'll link to that above. And remember, if you're using one of these many words in French that we also use in English, hot dog, pizza, all the ones I mentioned, be sure to say them with a French accent so you're understood. All right, next up, number 6, you don't capitalize weekdays or months. So in English, we capitalize the first letter of days of the week and months, but in French, you would only do that if it's the first word of a sentence. Otherwise, it's lowercase. I'll give you an example. I went there on Wednesday. In French, we have je suis allé mercredi. See that lowercase m in Wednesday, mercredi? Or I was born in December. I was. Je suis né en décembre, with the lowercase d. All right, next, number 7, when writing, or typing as it is, you put a space before the question mark, exclamation point, semicolon, and colon. Basically, any punctuation that has 2 parts. So in English, we'd put that question mark right after the last letter, like, are we leaving, question mark. In French, we'd be sure to add a space in between that last letter and the punctuation. So, on part. All right, number 8, the word bête, and you could use this in a few ways. First, know that the vegetable Swiss chard is called la blette, sometimes bête with 2 T's, so it's spelled differently. But vegetables aside, bête can mean beast or idiot. So if you say, je me suis trompé, je suis bête, it means, I made a mistake, I'm an idiot. And while it's not the kindest thing to say to yourself, that's how you would express the sentiment, right? Now let's say we use bête in a different way. Say you're in the gym, you're on your last rep, you're feeling really strong. Your friend might cheer you on and be like, wow, tu es une bête, meaning you're a beast, in the positive sense, right? To encourage you. Now, tu es bête is an insult, and tu es une bête is a positive. And note it's always une bête, even if you're talking to a male, because it's the noun bête that takes the feminine article, une. And it's kind of like cover your ears if you're a child, or you have children near you, or you hate cursing. The difference in English between saying you are shit and you are the shit in English. One's positive and one is definitely not. You are the shit is a positive. You are shit is negative. So it's kind of like that with bête in French. And now that my language tips are out of the way, if you're visiting France soon and you want some advice on the practical side of things for your visit, you know, what to know about culture, best practices for dining out, traveling, and that sort of thing, check out my e-guide titled 75 Beginner France Travel Tips for a Standout Trip. It's just a few bucks, and it'll help you navigate all things French and be better prepared for your France vacation. It's linked below in the description. Yeah, check out those links with my newsletter so you could stay up to date with all things we in France. And with that, thank you again for being here. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like this, be sure to hit the thumbs up and that subscribe button along with the bell notification so you don't miss any of my videos. And with that, I'll leave it there for today. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you back here on We in France soon. Salut!